Okay, I know I said in my last video we're going to move on to a couple more chords. I don't want to get there just yet. Now that we have the chords that we went over under our belt, I want to take a little bit of time, give you some information about your guitar, stuff that you'll need to know. You might want to get a piece of paper, write some of this down here. I'll be sure to have the terms and the definitions on the screen for you. First, you'll need to know the names of your strings. In the first video, I mentioned that we were going to start with the highest string here, and I gave them all numbers, 1 through 6. If you remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The first string we'll start with is the high E string, and then we go down from there. We go B, G, D, A, and then the low E string. Now this is an E string and this is an E string. So again, that's E, B, G, D, A, E. A student that I taught once, it's been a while back, several months ago, he actually had a good way to remember it. And it makes me laugh because it's silly, but I use it and it works. If you think Elvis bought grapes during an earthquake, that'll help you remember Elvis bought grapes during an earthquake. So you might write that down. If you want to come up with your own way to remember it, that's fine as well. So the strings in the open position are one note. Like I said, this is an E. You can change that note by pressing the string to the fretboard. This wood piece right here underneath the strings, that's called the fretboard. It's called the fretboard because it holds the frets. These metal pieces are called frets. So frets, fretboard, fret, fretboard. Makes sense, right? Okay, I also want to go over real quick, as we're going through chords, scales, things like that, you'll hear me call out either a half step or a full step. Now what I want to mention here, a half step is 1 fret's distance on the fretboard. So for instance, from here to here is a half step. A full step, of course, for all you math majors out there, a full step is, or a full is 2 halves. So if you have a half step, then you also have a full step. Is 2 frets distance, just like that. So again, half step is 1 fret, full step is 2 frets. I also want to go over real quick all the notes on the fretboard. In music, they are given a letter for a name. They go from A to G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then they start over again. However, we have these little things called sharps and flats. A sharp is a half step above a note, and a flat is a half step below the note. For instance, we have the note G right here on the 3rd fret on the E string. A half step higher is G sharp. It's a half step difference. G, G sharp. In the same way, if we go 1 step lower, or 1 half step lower rather, from G is G flat. Now also this note is called F sharp because we have the note F here, and 1 half step higher is F sharp. F, F sharp, and we have G, G sharp. Okay, and then G, G flat. So there's notes, I mean it's the same note, but it has 2 different names. There are 2 instances on the fretboard where there are no sharps or flats in between. That is between the notes E and F. For instance, the open 6th string is E, and then 1 half step is F. There's no sharps or flats in between. And then we also have between the note B on the 5th fret on the the 2nd fret on the 5th string, and C. Like there again, it's a half step, but there's no sharps or flats in between. This is called a natural half step. I'm going to put all the notes in order on the screen here, so you should see that along the bottom. I want you to write these down on your paper, because what I want you to do is flip that paper over or grab another piece, and I want you to draw 6 straight lines on your paper, just like your strings are going across the screen right now. draw 6 straight lines to represent your strings, and then going perpendicular, I want you to draw 6 frets, spaced out nice and evenly, because what I want you to do on that paper is in between each fret, I want you to write what note that is. For instance, if you start on the high string, the first string, it's E, and then we go the first fret is F, then F sharp, then G, then G sharp, and then A. I want you to do that for just the first 5 frets on each string. Go all the way down, see if you can fill them in. If you have any questions, you can message me, send me a comment on here. I'll definitely respond. You can also hit me up on Twitter or Facebook, and I'd be more than happy to help you out there as well. Now, while you're writing those, if you get all those in and you think you've done it right, if you want to, go ahead and extend that paper all the way up to the 12th fret of the guitar, and fill in all those notes as well. I would encourage you even to do this a couple times on a couple different pieces of paper, just so you can commit it to your memory, and maybe even have somebody help you quiz on the notes. Go over all those notes. Eventually, you'll start to see a repetitiveness. Here on the low string, the low E string, we have E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and A, and then we go to the A string, and then there's A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, etc. So you'll start to see a repetitiveness as you go down. Spend some time on this before moving forward, because the next lesson I'm going to take a look at the major scale. It's going to have a lot of information in it, so be sure you get this information down first before moving on. I'll see you then. Thanks.